Deep space. Sector 47, 50 years after the Draconian fleet disappeared. The silence was absolute. Commander Arlen Graves stood at the viewport of Luna Station's military command center, his weathered face reflecting in the reinforced glass as he stared at the holographic projection of Sector 47. Hundreds of red dots clustered in the virtual void, each representing a derelict Draconian warship. "Impossible," muttered General Harlow, pacing behind him. "Those ships vanished 50 years ago. There wasn't a trace." Graves turned to face the crowded war room. Scientists in pristine white uniforms huddled around consoles, their fingers dancing across screens as they verified the probe's findings. Historians frantically pulled archival footage, comparing the ship signatures to those recorded during the last Draconian offensive. "The probe's data is conclusive," announced Dr. Rena Solis, her gentle voice carrying unexpected authority. The xenolinguist approached the central holotable, her dark eyes reflecting the red glow of the projection. "Those are Draconian warships, or rather, what's left of them." The image zoomed in on the Bloodwake, the infamous Draconian flagship, its hull twisted and torn as if by some unimaginable force. No impact craters, no burn marks from traditional weapons. The metal appeared to have been carved with surgical precision. "And the crews?" Graves asked, though he already suspected the answer. Dr. Solis shook her head. "No life signs, no bodies, nothing." The room fell silent until a technician's voice broke through. "Command, we're receiving something. A signal. A broken distress beacon." The speakers crackled to life, filling the room with a voice that had been silent for half a century. The translation matrix converted the harsh Draconian language into a message that sent ice through Graves's spine. "We are not the first to fall." 12 hours later, Commander Graves stood in the launch bay of the Vindicator, Earth's most advanced science vessel. The crew, just 7 specialists, performed final systems checks as Dr. Solis approached him. "You requested me specifically," she said, her voice barely audible over the hum of the engines. "May I ask why?" Graves studied her face, brilliant but inexperienced, compassionate in a way that military officers rarely were. "Because whatever happened out there wasn't just a battle. Those ships weren't destroyed. They were dissected. I need someone who can think beyond military protocol. And because I specialize in Draconian language and culture," she added. He nodded. "Earth Defense Union wants answers, not more mysteries. We launch in 30 minutes. The Vindicator's pilot, Lieutenant Kai Nassar, approached with a datapad. "Commander, pre-flight complete. But I need to voice my concerns. Sector 47 is beyond our standard operational range." "We have full authority for this mission, Lieutenant," Graves replied. "The safety protocols have been adjusted." "Understood," Nassar said, though his expression suggested otherwise. "I'll prep for departure." As the bridge crew took their stations, Graves activated the ship-wide comm. "This is Commander Graves. Our mission is to investigate the Draconian fleet discovered in Sector 47. These were the same warships that threatened Earth's colonies 50 years ago before they mysteriously vanished. We're going to find out what happened to them. What we discover may change our understanding of space travel, warfare, or existence itself. Stay vigilant. Trust nothing but each other." The Vindicator's engines ignited, propelling the sleek vessel out of Luna's shadow and into the darkness of space. Behind them, Earth grew smaller, a blue marble carrying the weight of 7 billion souls who had no idea what lurked in the cold vacuum of Sector 47. 3 weeks later, the Vindicator approached the threshold of Sector 47. The bridge was silent as Lieutenant Nassar engaged the final approach sequence. "Crossing boundary in 3, 2, 1, he announced. The moment they crossed into Sector 47, the ship's sensors flickered. The lights dimmed momentarily, and the communication array emitted a harsh burst of static. "Status report," Graves demanded. "All systems functioning, but..." "Something's wrong," Nassar replied, frowning at his console. The star charts don't match our navigation database. It's subtle, but the stars are shifted. Dr. Solis leaned forward, studying the view screen. Spatial anomaly or a temporal one? Both. Potentially, said Chief Engineer Torres as she analyzed the readouts. I'm detecting radiation patterns I've never seen before. Not dangerous to us, but definitely not natural. Graves stood from his command chair. Take us closer to the bloodwake. Maintain distance of 1 kilometer and launch probes. The Vindicator glided through the graveyard of ships. Draconian vessels, once feared throughout the galaxy, floated lifelessly in the void. Their distinctive angular hulls, designed to evoke the predatory nature of their creators, now resembled skeletal remains. Probes deployed, announced Security Officer Ruiz. Visual feed coming in now. The screens filled with images of the bloodwake's exterior. Its hull was split open in places, revealing decks and corridors within. But there was something profoundly wrong with how the metal had been torn, not shattered or blown apart, but sliced with impossible precision, as if the strongest alloy in the known galaxy were no more resistant than paper. No impact fractures, Torres observed. No heat signatures from weapons fire. It's like something just pulled it apart. Commander, Nassar interrupted. I'm picking up an energy signature inside the bloodwake. Faint, but active. Graves exchanged glances with Dr. Solis. Prepare the shuttle. We're going aboard. Sir, Ruiz protested. Regulations state... I know the regulations. Officer Ruiz. Graves cut him off. But we're 50 light-years from home, investigating a 50-year-old mystery. We didn't come all this way to observe from a distance. The away team consisted of Graves, Dr. Solis, Ruiz, and Engineer Corporal Jensen. As their shuttle approached the gaping wound in the bloodwake's side, Graves couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The shuttle glided into what had once been a hangar bay. Emergency lighting activated automatically as they stepped onto the deck, their magnetic boots clinking against the metal floor. Atmosphere is thin but breathable, Jensen reported, checking her scanner. Temperature -15 Celsius. Keep your suits on anyway, Graves ordered. We don't know what we're dealing with. Dr. Solis moved toward a section of wall covered in Draconian script. The letters were scorched, as if burned into the metal by intense heat. Can you read it? Graves asked, coming to stand beside her. She nodded slowly, her expression troubled behind her helmet visor. It says, it watches... What watches? Ruiz asked, his hand instinctively moving to his sidearm. I don't know, she admitted, but it's repeated, over and over. And this isn't standard Draconian script. It looks desperate, written in haste. They proceeded deeper into the ship, passing through corridors that twisted at impossible angles. Gravity shifted unexpectedly, sometimes stronger, sometimes nearly absent. Twice, they had to recalibrate their communication systems as signals degraded without explanation. This doesn't make sense, Jensen said, analyzing a section of hull. These cuts, they're impossibly clean. No known weapon could do this. And there's that radiation again, similar to what we detected from the Vindicator, but much stronger. Graves was about to respond when his comm unit crackled. Commander, came Lieutenant Nassar's voice, distorted by interference. We're experiencing anomaly. Systems, 3 hours missing. Nassar, Lieutenant, repeat your last, Graves demanded. Sir, Nassar's voice returned, clearer now. Something happened. According to our chronometers, 3 hours passed in an instant. We have no record of that time. And the stars shifted again. Dr. Solis stiffened beside him. Commander, look at this. She pointed her light at a sealed compartment, partially exposed by the torn hull. On its side was an unmistakable insignia, Earth Defense Union. That's impossible, Ruiz whispered. Earth never had contact with the Draconian fleet. Not directly. Apparently, that's not entirely true, Graves said grimly. Let's find out what's inside. Before they could approach the compartment, Jensen's scanner began emitting a high-pitched whine. "Energy spike!" she shouted. "Coming from below us!" The deck beneath them groaned, metal shifting as if alive. For an instant, gravity failed completely, sending them floating upward before slamming them back down as it returned with twice the normal force. "We need to get back to the shuttle," Graves ordered. "Now!" As they retreated, Ruiz stopped suddenly, staring down a darkened corridor. "Commander, there's something." "We don't have time! Ruiz!" Graves shouted. "No, sir, you don't understand," Ruiz insisted, his voice strained. "I can see. I can hear." Dr. Solis grabbed his arm. "Officer Ruiz, we need to leave." Ruiz turned to her, his expression blank. "It watches," he whispered, then shook his head violently. "Sorry, ma'am. Let's go." They barely made it back to the shuttle before another gravity fluctuation rocked the bloodwake. As they departed, Graves noticed Dr. Solis staring intently at the derelict ship. "What is it?" he asked. "When we were in there," she replied quietly, "I felt like something was trying to communicate with me, responding to my scans of the Draconian text." "Did it succeed?" She hesitated. "I don't think so, but it wanted to." Back aboard the Vindicator, the crew gathered in the briefing room. Lieutenant Nassar confirmed that the ship had experienced a complete blackout, lasting precisely 3 hours and 17 minutes. During that time, all systems continued to function, but no data was recorded. "It's as if that time simply doesn't exist for us," he explained. "And the star shift?" Graves asked. "Minimal, but measurable," Torres replied. "The entire sector appears to be experiencing microtemporal fluctuations. Time itself is unstable here." Jensen displayed her analysis of the hull fragments. "The radiation pattern is unlike anything in our database. It doesn't decay like normal radiation. Instead, it pulses, almost like it's alive." "And the Earth defense crate?" Graves turned to Dr. Solis. "We couldn't access it," she answered. "But its presence suggests Earth had knowledge of, or even interaction with, the Draconians, long before the official historical record indicates." Graves leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. "Options? We should return to Earth immediately," Nassar said firmly. "Whatever happened here is beyond our capacity to understand, let alone control." "I disagree," Torres countered. "This could be the most significant scientific discovery in human history. We need to continue investigating." "Even if it kills us?" Ruiz asked quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. "Sorry, Commander. I don't feel right since we returned from the bloodwake." Dr. Solis studied him with concern. "What are you experiencing, Officer Ruiz?" He shook his head. "Dreams. Voices. I keep seeing symbols I don't understand." "I'll examine you in medical," she assured him. Graves made his decision. "We continue the investigation, but we establish a new protocol. No one goes anywhere alone, and all away teams maintain constant communication with the ship." "Sir," Nassar objected, "with all due respect." "I understand your concerns, Lieutenant," Graves interrupted. "But our mission is to discover what happened here. We haven't done that yet." As the meeting adjourned, Dr. Solis approached Graves privately. "Commander, there's something else. When I was translating those inscriptions, I felt a presence, not physical, but aware, responding to my presence." "You think something survived?" he asked, lowering his voice. "Not survived," she corrected. "Persisted. Whatever happened here 50 years ago may still be happening, just at a different temporal rate." Graves considered this. "Keep that theory between us for now. I don't want to alarm the crew unnecessarily." She nodded, but her expression remained troubled. The next day, the Vindicator's sensors detected an unusual energy signature emanating from one of the smaller Draconian vessels, designated Ship 191. Unlike the other derelicts, this one emitted a faint green glow from within its fractured hull. "Definitely worth investigating," Torres advised. "The signature matches what we found on the Bloodwake, but it's much stronger and more coherent." Graves assembled another away team. Himself, Dr. Salas, Jensen, and technician Loro. As their shuttle approached Ship 191, the green glow pulsed, as if acknowledging their presence. "That's not random," Loro observed. "That's a pattern, almost like Morse code, but more complex." "Can you decipher it?" Graves asked. Loro shook his head. "Not without more data." They docked at a breach in the hull and entered cautiously. Immediately, they noticed the difference from the Bloodwake. The gravity here didn't just fluctuate, it seemed to rotate. What had been the floor became a wall, then a ceiling, cycling slowly, but perceptibly. "This defies all known physics," Jensen whispered, clearly unnerved. They pushed deeper into the ship, following the green glow. As they entered what appeared to be a command center, time itself seemed to slow. Their movements became sluggish, voices deeper and drawn out. And then they saw it. A Draconian soldier, suspended in midair, caught in a moment of terror. Its reptilian features were frozen in a silent scream, clawed hands outstretched as if reaching for something just beyond grasp. "Is it dead?" Jensen asked, her voice trembling. Dr. Solis approached cautiously, scanning the figure. "I don't think dead applies here. It's in a state of temporal suspension." Graves circled the frozen Draconian. "Can it see us? Hear us?" As if in answer, the creature's eyes moved, just slightly, but unmistakably, tracking Dr. Solis as she passed in front of it. "It's aware," she whispered, backing away. "Trapped in a single moment, but conscious." "Look at this," Loro called from across the chamber. They joined him before a sealed door. Unlike the rest of the ship, this door appeared untouched by whatever force had torn the vessel apart. On it was the same Earth Defense Union insignia they'd seen on the Bloodwake. "Help me open it," Graves ordered. Together, they forced the door open, revealing a small chamber beyond. Inside was a metallic crate, standard EDU issue, and atop it sat a cube approximately 15 centimeters on each side. The cube appeared to be made of an unknown metallic substance, its surface etched with intricate patterns that shifted and changed as they watched. Most disturbing of all, the cube pulsed with a rhythmic green glow, like a heartbeat. "Don't touch it," Dr. Solis warned as Jensen reached toward it. "We have no idea what it is." "I think I do," Loro said, his voice suddenly distant. He pointed to a small device beside the crate, a damaged holoprojector. "There's a recording." Graves activated the projector. The image flickered to life. A human in an old-style EDU uniform, surrounded by other officers. Behind them, several Draconian soldiers were restrained. "Test Subject 17 responds to the artifact, as the others did," the officer reported clinically. Initial resistance followed by complete neural integration. The cube appears to feed on consciousness itself, transferring awareness from organic matter to its own matrix. The recording showed a Draconian being forced to touch the cube. The alien's body contorted in agony, then went slack as the cube glowed brighter. "Integration complete," the officer continued. "Subject's consciousness has been successfully transferred. Physical body remains animate, but devoid of self-awareness. It will now respond to the cube's directives." The recording showed the empty Draconian attacking its own comrades with mindless brutality. "Project Lighthouse is proceeding as planned," the officer concluded. "Once the entire Draconian fleet is infected, we'll activate the recall sequence. The cube will bring them to the designated coordinates where—" The recording cut out abruptly. Silence fell over the away team as the implications sank in. "Earth did this," Dr. Solace whispered. "We weaponized this thing against the Draconians." "And it backfired," Graves added grimly. "Whatever this cube is, it didn't just take over the Draconians. It consumed them completely." "Commander," Loro said, his face pale, "I found something else, buried in our mission parameters." He handed Graves his datapad. On it was a classified directive, accessible only to the highest levels of command. Shadow Protocol. Graves read it silently, his expression hardening with each word. Finally, he looked up at his team. "According to this, Earth Defense knew exactly what we'd find here. This mission isn't about investigation. It's about verification." "Verification of what?" Jensen asked. "That nothing survived," Graves answered. "And if the cube shows any sign of activation, no one from this mission is ever supposed to return to Earth." Before anyone could respond, an alarm sounded from their shuttle. "Emergency transmission from the Vindicator," Jensen reported, checking her comm unit. "Something's happening on the Bloodwake." They rushed back to their shuttle, the cube momentarily forgotten. As they approached the Bloodwake, they saw that the massive flagship was moving, its engines glowing with an eerie light despite having no crew to operate them. "Vindicator, this is Commander Graves. What's happening?" Lieutenant Nassar's voice came through, filled with panic. "The Bloodwake just powered up, sir. All systems online, weapons charging, and there's some kind of transmission being broadcast. A psychic hum that's interfering with our systems." "Get the Vindicator to a safe distance," Graves ordered. "We'll investigate the source." "Sir, I strongly advise—" "That's an order, Lieutenant." They docked at the Bloodwake once more, this time entering through a different breach. The ship felt different, humming with energy, vibrating beneath their feet. "The power source is in the central command chamber," Jensen reported, following her scanner. As they moved through the corridors, the lights flickered around them. Jensen suddenly collapsed, clutching her head. "Corporal!" Graves rushed to her side. "Something in my head," she gasped. "Voices. So many voices." Dr. Solis scanned her. Brain activity is off the charts. It's like her neural pathways are being rewritten. Jensen's eyes snapped open, but they were wrong somehow. Vacant, yet aware, like windows into an alien mind. "It remembers," she whispered in a voice not her own. "It remembers everything you took." Then she convulsed violently and fell unconscious. "We need to get her back to the Vindicator," Graves decided. "Loro, help me carry her." "Commander," Dr. Solis said urgently, "look." The corridor ahead was filling with shadows, not the absence of light, but something more substantial. They moved like liquid, flowing along walls and ceiling. "Back to the shuttle, now," Graves ordered. They retreated, carrying Jensen between them. Behind them, the shadows pursued, not quickly, but with terrible purpose. Lights exploded as they passed, plunging sections of corridor into darkness. They barely made it to the shuttle. As they took off, Graves looked back at the Bloodwake. Its weapons were fully charged now, pointing at the Vindicator. "Nassar! Evasive maneuvers!" Graves shouted into the comm. "The Bloodwake is targeting you!" "Already on it, sir," came the tense reply. "But our systems are going haywire. Something's interfering with—" The transmission cut off as a massive energy pulse erupted from the Bloodwake, striking the Vindicator's communication array. The shuttle docked with the Vindicator moments later. As they carried Jensen to medical, Ruiz met them in the corridor. Something was wrong with his face, the same vacant expression Jensen had shown. "Officer Ruiz, stand aside," Graves ordered. Ruiz smiled unnaturally. "It's awake now, Commander. The seed has germinated." He lunged at them with inhuman strength, knocking Loro aside. Graves fired his stun pistol, but Ruiz seemed unaffected. It took both Graves and Dr. Solis to subdue him. "Get them both to medical and restrain them," Graves ordered the security team that responded to the commotion. Full neural dampening fields. On the bridge, chaos reigned. Systems failed randomly. Consoles sparked, and the view screen showed the blood wake moving toward them, its weapons glowing with murderous intent. "Status report," Graves demanded. "Main engines offline," Torres reported. "Weapons non-responsive. The AI is... Sir, I think the ship's AI has been compromised." The Vindicator's AI, an adaptive interface partially based on recovered Draconian technology, controlled all major systems. If it had been corrupted... "Manually override the AI," Graves ordered. "Switch to emergency protocols." "I'm trying," Torres said, her fingers flying over the controls. "But it's blocking me. It's like it's learning, adapting to counter every attempt." The ship lurched violently as the bloodwake fired another energy pulse. Artificial gravity flickered, sending crew members tumbling. "Sir," Nassar called out, "I've got partial control of the thrusters. I can get us moving, but not fast enough to outrun that thing." "Do it," Graves ordered. "Put as much distance between us and the bloodwake as possible." As the Vindicator limped away, Dr. Solis rushed onto the bridge. "Commander, I've identified what's happening. It's the cube, the one we saw on Ship 191. There must be another one on the bloodwake, more powerful. It's not just controlling the ship, it's broadcasting some kind of signal that's infecting our systems and our people." "How do we stop it?" Graves asked. "I don't know yet," she admitted. "But I discovered something else. When I scanned Jensen and Ruiz, I found the same radiation pattern we detected in the Draconian wreckage. It's as if their consciousness is being overwritten." A technician approached with a datapad. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Earth." Graves took the pad, reading the message with growing horror. "They're implementing Protocol Omega." "What does that mean?" Dr. Solis asked. "It means Earth has detected the cube's signal and is taking measures to contain it," Graves explained grimly, "including the destruction of any potential carriers." "Us," she realized. "They're going to destroy us." "They're sending 3 warships," Graves confirmed. "And they've jammed all our communication channels. We can't explain or defend ourselves." "There has to be another way," Dr. Solis insisted. "If we could study the cube, understand how it works." "That's exactly what Earth is afraid of," Graves interrupted. "This thing doesn't just kill, it converts. It turns people into vessels for its own consciousness. And now, it's trying to reach Earth." He pointed to the view screen, where a faint red beam extended from the bloodwake toward Earth's distant position. "It's sending a signal," Torres confirmed. "Some kind of replication protocol? If it reaches Earth's networks." "How long do we have before the warships arrive?" Graves asked. 72 hours at most," Nassar replied. Graves made his decision. "We need to destroy the source of the signal, the cube on the bloodwake. It's our only chance." "How?" Torres asked. "We can't get close enough without being affected ourselves." "We ram it," Graves said simply. "Set a collision course for the bloodwake's transmission array." Stunned silence fell over the bridge. "Sir," Nassar finally said, "that would mean—" "I know exactly what it means, Lieutenant." Graves cut him off. "But if that signal reaches Earth, humanity as we know it will cease to exist. Not through death, but through conversion. Our choices, our memories, our very identities will be overwritten." Dr. Solis stepped forward. "There has to be another solution, something less final." "I'm open to suggestions, Doctor," Graves replied, his voice softening. "But right now, this is the only plan we have." Over the next 24 hours, the crew of the Vindicator battled the cube's influence. More crew members succumbed, their minds corrupted by the psychic signal. Those who remained sealed themselves on the bridge and in engineering, erecting neural dampening fields to protect themselves. Dr. Solis worked tirelessly to understand the cube, analyzing the data they'd gathered from Ship 191 and the affected crew members. "It's not destruction," she explained to Graves during a rare quiet moment. "It's conversion. The cube doesn't kill its victims. It absorbs them, their consciousness, their memories. Everything that makes them who they are gets transferred to the cube's matrix." "And then what?" Graves asked. "What does it want?" "To remember," she replied. "From what I can tell, the cube is ancient, possibly pre-galactic. It existed before organic life as we know it, but it lacks individual identity. It observes, it absorbs, it remembers. That's why the inscription said it watches. That's all it does. All it is, a witness that consumes what it witnesses." "And Earth found it and tried to weaponize it," Graves said bitterly. "Found it on Mars, according to the classified files," she confirmed. 1,000 years ago. They've been studying it ever since, learning how to control it, how to aim it at their enemies. "But they couldn't control it," Graves concluded. "It turned on the Draconians, consumed them completely, and now it wants to do the same to us." "Yes," she agreed. "And the most terrifying part is that it doesn't see this as destruction. It sees it as preservation, saving our memories and experiences within itself. A twisted form of immortality." The Vindicator shuddered as another energy pulse struck its shields. The Bloodwake had been firing regularly, not to destroy, but to weaken, to prepare the ship for conversion. "Time's running out," Graves said. "Have you found any alternative to our ramming strategy?" Dr. Solis hesitated. "Not yet, but I'm close to understanding how the cube communicates. If I could establish a dialogue." "We don't negotiate with existential threats, Doctor," Graves said firmly. "We eliminate them." "Even at the cost of our own lives?" she challenged. Graves looked around the bridge, at the determined faces of his remaining crew, at the view screen showing the Bloodwake's ominous presence. Yes, even then. The plan was set. They would use the Vindicator's remaining power to accelerate toward the Bloodwake's transmission array, a beacon node that had emerged from the flagship's hull. The impact would destroy both ships and, hopefully, the cube itself. As they made final preparations, Dr. Solis approached Graves in his quarters. "Commander, I've been reviewing the Earth defense files. There's something you should know." She handed him a datapad. On it was a classified report about Project Lighthouse, the EDU's attempt to weaponize the cube. "The cube wasn't meant to consume the Draconians," she explained. "It was meant to control them, to turn them into weapons against other alien threats. But the scientists underestimated its intelligence and its hunger. And now Earth wants to try again," Graves realized, reading further. "They're not destroying us to contain the threat. They're destroying us to recover the cube for themselves." "Exactly," she confirmed. "They think they can control it this time." Graves set the datapad down, his expression hardening. "All the more reason to destroy it completely." "Commander," Dr. Solis began, then stopped, struggling with her words. "Our land, if we do this, no one will ever know the truth. Earth will bury it, just like they buried what happened 50 years ago. Then we make sure they can't," he decided. "We record everything, broadcast it on all frequencies. Make sure the truth survives, even if we don't." Together, they created a log, documenting their discoveries, Earth's betrayal, and the cube's true nature. They included all the data Dr. Solis had gathered, the classified files they'd uncovered, and their own personal testimonies. "This is Commander Arlen Graves of the Earth science vessel Vindicator," he began. "What I'm about to tell you may determine the survival of not just humanity, but all sentient life in the galaxy." With the log completed and set to broadcast continuously, the final moment approached. The Vindicator's remaining crew gathered on the bridge. Some were there to say goodbye, others to ensure the plan succeeded. "Collision course plotted," Nassar reported. his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. Impact in 10 minutes. All power to forward shields and engines, Graves ordered. We get one shot at this. Dr. Solis stood beside him, watching the blood wake grow larger on the view screen. Do you think this will work? She asked quietly. It has to, he replied. For Earth, for everyone. The Vindicator accelerated toward the blood wake, its engines straining beyond safety limits. The Draconian flagship fired continuously now, its weapons tearing through the Vindicator's weakened shields. 5 minutes to impact, Nassar announced. Suddenly, the bridge door slid open. Ruiz stood there, his eyes glowing with an unnatural light. Behind him were Jensen and several other converted crew members. You cannot stop what has already begun, Ruiz said, his voice overlaid with an alien resonance. The seed has taken root. Graves drew his weapon. Stay back. We are not here to harm, Jensen said, stepping forward. We are here to preserve, to remember. By stealing our identities, Dr. Solis retorted. By erasing who we are and replacing it with? What? Copies. Shadows. Not copies, Ruiz corrected. Continuations. Your consciousness will persist within the Matrix. Everything you are will be saved. 3 minutes to impact, Nassar reported tensely. The converted crew members advanced slowly. Graves and the others backed toward the command console. Commander, Torres called urgently. The AI lockdown is failing. Ship systems are being overridden. On the view screen, a red glow appeared on the bridge. The cube, somehow transported from the blood wake. It floated above the captain's chair, pulsing with malevolent intelligence. It's here, Dr. Solis whispered. It's already inside our ship. The cube expanded, tendrils of red energy reaching toward them. As they touched the console, the ship's course began to change, veering away from the blood wake. Override, Graves shouted. Maintain collision course. I can't, Nassar replied, frantically working his controls. The system isn't responding. The converted crew members surrounded them, not attacking but simply waiting, watching. 1 minute to divergence, Torres reported. After that, we'll miss the blood wake entirely. Graves looked at Dr. Solis, a silent question in his eyes. She nodded almost imperceptibly. Plan B, he said quietly. In one swift motion, Graves activated his emergency access codes and transferred all command functions to his personal console. Before the converted crew could react, he locked in the collision course and encrypted it with his death protocol. The course could not be altered unless he entered his code again. What have you done? Ruiz demanded, his voice rising in alarm. Ensured our mission succeeds, Graves answered calmly. No matter what. The Vindicator shuddered as its engines fired at maximum thrust, driving it inexorably toward the Bloodwake's beacon node. The cube's glow intensified, its tendrils lashing out in what almost seemed like panic. 30 seconds to impact, Nassar announced, a hint of grim satisfaction in his voice. The converted crew members rushed forward, trying to reach the console, but it was too late. The ship's course was locked. Dr. Solis turned to Graves. It was an honor serving with you, Commander. Likewise, Doctor, he replied softly. As the Vindicator closed the final distance to the blood wake, the cube's energy engulfed the bridge. Time seemed to slow, reality bending around them as the cube made one last attempt to assert control. 10 seconds. Nassar's voice came as if from a great distance. Remember us, Dr. Solis whispered. The Vindicator struck the Bloodwake's beacon node at near relativistic speed. The impact generated a catastrophic energy release, a temporal spatial implosion that consumed both ships in a blinding flash of light. For a moment, all was silent. The derelict Draconian wreckage surrounding the impact point began to disintegrate, drawn into the growing vortex created by the collision. The cube's signal, which had been streaming toward Earth, abruptly ceased. Victory, it seemed, had been achieved at the cost of heroic sacrifice. But beneath Earth's surface, in a classified facility known only as Phantom Wing. Scientists detected the final transmission from the Vindicator, not the cube's signal, but Dr. Solis's recorded warning. "Sir," a technician reported to Director Harlow, "we're receiving a transmission from Sector 47. It's about the cube." Harlow's expression darkened. "Isolate it. Make sure it doesn't reach any external networks." "Too late, sir," the technician replied, his face pale. "It's already been broadcasting for 17 minutes. The public archives have been contaminated." On screens throughout the facility, Dr. Solis's face appeared, delivering her warning to all of humanity. But as the scientists watched in horror, the image began to change, pixels shifting, colors inverting. The recording was being altered in real time, its contents rewritten. Digital infection, Harlow realized. The cube found another way in. Across Earth, the effects were immediate and devastating. Historical records vanished from databases or changed in subtle ways. Personal memories began to conflict with official records. Society descended into confusion as citizens realized that institutions, media, and even loved ones might be compromised, might be cube-born replicas rather than their authentic selves. Meanwhile, in the void of Sector 47, a miracle occurred. The escape pod from the Vindicator, launched in the final seconds before impact, drifted among the debris. Inside, Commander Graves and Dr. Solis regained consciousness, battered but alive. "Did we succeed?" Graves asked weakly. Dr. Solis checked the pod sensors. "The cube's signal has stopped. The blood wake is destroyed. But what? I'm detecting another ship approaching, not Earth defense." The pod's communication system activated, receiving an incoming transmission. "Escape pod. This is Captain Mercer of the Phantom Wing. Stand by for retrieval." "Phantom Wing?" Graves repeated. "I've never heard of that vessel." "Classified Black Ops," Dr. Solis whispered. "According to the files I found, they're the ones who originally deployed the cube against the Draconians." Graves' expression hardened. "So they're not here to rescue us?" "No," she agreed. "They're here to recover whatever's left of the cube." As the Phantom Wing's tractor beam locked onto their pod, Dr. Solis caught a glimpse of her reflection in the viewport. For an instant, her face seemed wrong, her eyes glowing faintly red, her expression not quite her own. She blinked, and the image returned to normal. But a seed of doubt had been planted. Had she escaped the cube's influence entirely, or had it found a new vessel in her? The pod was drawn into the Phantom Wing's hangar bay. Armed guards surrounded them as they emerged, escorting them to a laboratory deep within the ship. There, scientists worked feverishly, analyzing fragments recovered from the wreckage, pieces of the cube, still pulsing with faint energy. "Commander Graves," greeted a silver-haired woman in a lab coat. "Dr. Solis, I'm Dr. Voss, lead scientist for Project Lighthouse. Congratulations on your successful mission." "Successful?" Graves retorted bitterly. "We lost our ship, most of our crew, and nearly our lives. But you destroyed the cube's primary node," Voss replied smoothly. "And more importantly, you provided us with invaluable data on its capabilities." "You're still trying to weaponize it," Dr. Solis realized, horror dawning on her face. "After everything that happened, you still think you can control it?" "Not just control it," Voss corrected. "Improve upon it. The original cube was crude, a prototype. With your data, we can refine the technology, make it more selective, more precise." "You're insane," Graves said flatly. "That thing doesn't just kill, it consumes. It erases identity itself." "A small price to pay for ultimate strategic advantage," Voss countered. "Imagine, entire enemy fleets turned against themselves. Hostile governments collapse from within as leaders forget their own objectives." "And what happens when it turns on us?" Dr. Solis demanded. "As it did with the Draconians?" "That won't happen this time," Voss assured them. We've learned from our mistakes. As they argued, Dr. Solace caught another glimpse of her reflection in a polished surface, and this time, there was no mistaking it. Her reflection smiled, while her actual face remained frozen in horror. The cube had found another way to survive. Later, alone in their assigned quarters, Graves and Dr. Solace made a desperate plan. "We have to warn someone," she insisted. "Earth has no idea what's coming." "Earth's leadership made this decision," Graves reminded her. "They chose to exploit the cube rather than contain it. Who would believe us? Then we warn everyone else," she decided. "Other worlds, other species, someone who might listen." Using components smuggled from the lab, they constructed a makeshift transmitter, powerful enough to send a simple message into deep space, beyond Earth's communication network. "This is Commander Arlen Graves and Dr. Rena Solace of Earth." They recorded, "We are the last witnesses. The threat we face cannot be seen or fought conventionally. It doesn't kill. It erases and replaces. Do not let this happen to you. Earth is gone, lost to the seed. Remember us." As the transmission beamed outward, Dr. Solace turned to Graves. "Do you think anyone will hear it?" Before he could answer, the door to their quarters slid open. Dr. Voss stood there, flanked by guards. "I'm afraid we can't allow that transmission," she said coldly. "Security protocols." "It's too late," Graves replied with grim satisfaction. "It's already sent." Voss sighed. "Then we'll have to accelerate our timetable. Dr. Solace, you're needed in the lab. We've discovered something unusual in your neural scans." Dr. Solace met Graves's gaze, a silent message passing between them. They had suspected this moment would come, the moment when the cube's influence would be discovered in her. "I'll come peacefully," she said, standing. "Commander Graves had nothing to do with the transmission. It was my idea entirely." "Noble, but unnecessary," Voss replied. "We need both of you." As they were escorted to the lab, Dr. Solace whispered to Graves, "Whatever happens, remember who we are. Remember what we've done." "Always," he promised. In the depths of space, their message traveled outward, carrying humanity's final warning to whoever might be listening. And somewhere, far beyond Earth's reach, someone or something received their plea. A signal returned, faint but unmistakable. "We hear you. We remember." Fade to black.